Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. As promised, the 600,000 Sinovac Coronavac doses arrived in the country on Sunday, February 28 in Pasay City. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte personally inspected and accepted the vaccine donations from the Chinese government. Duterte also encouraged the public to set aside their fears and have themselves inoculated with the Chinese vaccines, which are safe and validated by homegrown experts. Here is that report.
The country has officially received its first batch of coronavirus disease vaccines with the arrival of 600,000 doses of Coronavac during a ceremony held Sunday afternoon, February 28 in Pasay City. A Chinese military plane carrying the crates of Sinovac vaccines landed at the Villamor Air Base around 4 p.m., with President Duterte leading top government officials in expecting and accepting the vaccine donations from Chinese government, which was represented by Ambassador Huang Xilian. In his speech, President Duterte assured the public that the government remains committed to the timely rollout of the vaccination program against the COVID-19, ordering concerned agencies to make sure that there will be no hitches in the distribution of the vaccines.
As we prepare for the distribution of these vaccines, I am directing all concerned agencies to institutionalize the whole of government approach in its rollout. I cannot stress enough, we cannot afford to waste time or resources in the distribution of these vaccines because we are dealing with precious lives.
According to President Duterte, the arrival of 600,000 Coronavac doses donated by the Chinese government was the sign of the end of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Duterte also encouraged the public to set aside their fears and have themselves vaccinated with the Coronavac shots, saying the Chinese vaccines are safe and validated by homegrown experts.
To my fellow Filipinos, please set your fears aside. These vaccines are backed by science and deliberated on by our expert, Filipino experts. I encourage you to get vaccinated at the soonest possible time and be a partner in preventing the further spread of the disease.
The President likewise called on those willing to get the job to still observe health and safety protocols to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19.
With entire nation's support, I am confident that we will claim victory over this pandemic. Panahon ngayon para magbayanihan. Let us demonstrate unity in our shared task of nation building and healthier society of every Filipino.
President Duterte expressed his desire to go to China this year to personally thank Chinese President Xi Jinping for the Sinovac vaccines donations.
Mr. Ambassador, I'd like to just say that towards maybe at the end of the year, when everything has settled down, I intend to make a short visit to China to just shake hands with President Xi Jinping and to personally thank him for this donation. Thank you.
From Villamor Air Base, the Sinovac Biotech Limited manufactured jobs were transported to at least 2 cold chain storage facilities. Sinovac is among 3 vaccines manufactured granted with an emergency use authorization by the country's Food and Drug Administration or FDA. The other 2 firms are British-Swedish pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca and the United States Pfizer-BioNTech.
President Duterte will order the total reopening of the economy if he sees that the country has already acquired 40 million doses of coronavirus vaccines. In a press conference after the arrival ceremony of the vaccines, President Duterte said that he will remove the restrictions once he sees that the Philippines already has many vaccines available to the people. President Duterte also bared that he is considering approving the shift of the National Capital Region to the Modified General Community Quarantine, or MGCQ, once the country obtains 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines. According to the President, the country's economy has really suffered due to the pandemic.
Will you reconsider daw po yung placing Metro Manila under MGCQ now that we have rolled out the vaccination program?
I am considering it. Actually, pag-start, buksan ko na because there are two things that are really bugging us. It's the economy and COVID-19. Nakatutok yan. Our economy is really down, as in down. So, the earlier na mabilisan itong vaccine, the better. Ako, pag nag-umpisa na yan, roll out, and the other vaccines would come in and distributed to the provinces, I may, siguro pagdating ng mga, we'll have 1 million by this month. Magkaroon na tayo ng stock ng 2 million, bitawan ko na. I will open the economy. Talagang hirap tayo. You know, people have to eat. People have to work. People have to pay for their upkeep. And the only way to do it is to open the economy and for businesses to regrow. Without that, patay talaga. So, mahirapan tayo.
Malacanang said the Philippines is now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel as the country rolled out its vaccination program against the coronavirus disease this morning, March 1. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque made a statement as the Philippine government finally started vaccinating healthcare workers against COVID-19 at the Philippine General Hospital in Manila. Roque thanked health workers for their sacrifices throughout the pandemic and pointed out that they are the real heroes during this crisis. The Philippines rolled out the vaccination program with the CoronaVac vaccine manufactured by Chinese pharmaceutical firm Sinovac. The first to be vaccinated was PGH Director Dr. Gerardo Legaspi. After Legaspi, Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo and infectious disease expert Dr. Edsel Salvana also got inoculated using Sinovac vaccines. National Task Force Deputy Chief Implementer and Testing Czar Vince Dizon was the fourth to get vaccinated against the COVID-19 at the Tala Hospital in Caloocan City. Those who got vaccinated then underwent monitoring for possible adverse effects from the vaccines. Other officials who lined up for vaccination at PGH were Presidential Spokesman Harry Roque, Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez Jr., and MMDA Chairman Benhar Abalos. Unfortunately, Roque did not make the cut, as was forced to come back another day. Before the press briefing, Roque had actually lined up and was screened for the vaccination. However, it turned out that a PGH was only vaccinating 100 people for the pilot inoculation. The Octa research team has found a similar pattern of increase in coronavirus disease cases in the National Capital Region to the patterns observed in Cebu City, Mountain Province, and Benguet, where specimens of the B117 SARS-CoV-2 UK variant were identified. The group noted that the reproduction number in the NCR has increased to 1.51 as it registered 1,019 new COVID-19 cases on February 27. According to Octa's report, the 3-day average was at 955, while the 7-day average was at 723, which represents a 62% increase from the previous week and an 88% increase compared to 2 weeks ago. The 2-week daily attack rate in the NCR was 4.17 per 100,000. The reproduction number in the NCR appears to be on an increasing trend because as infections become more widespread, reversing the spread of the virus becomes more difficult. According to the Octa Group, if the reproduction number continues to increase and new COVID-19 cases continue to escalate, especially in the NCR, the projection is 715,000 cases and 15,000 deaths by the end of March. In Metro News, Pasay City LGU to conduct RT-PCR mass testing as COVID-19 cases rise. Manila LGU finishes distribution of food boxes for February. And Mayor Belmonte leads plastic bags ban kickoff event. More from this report.
The Pasay City government is asking its residents to avail the free RT-PCR mass testing due to the continued spike of coronavirus disease cases in the city. In a Facebook post, Pasay Public Information Office said those living in Barangay 1 to 75 and Barangay 80 to 143 can have their free RT-PCR test at Andres Bonifacio Elementary School, while those living at Barangays 114 to 201 can have their test at Malibay Plaza. The city government is offering the free RT-PCR test from Monday to Saturday starting 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. It started last February 25 until March 5. The Manila City government hit its target of distributing food boxes to around 695,000 families in the capital city in February in line with its food security program. Manila Mayor Francisco Esco Moreno Dumagoso announced that they finished distributing the food boxes on February 25. The Manila City government launched the food security program on February 10. A fund of around 3 billion pesos was allocated for its implementation. The program aims to curb hunger of poverty-stricken families in the city amid the COVID-19 crisis. Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte led the plastic bag bans kick-off event on Sunday morning in a bid to promote plastic waste reduction in the city. The mayor distributed bayongs and eco bags to market goers in Galas, Muñoz, Suki, A. Bonifacio, Frisco, and Kamuning Market in Quezon City on Sunday, February 28. The kick-off event was in relation with the re-implementation of the city's plastic bag ban ordinance starting today, March 1. The distribution of plastic bags carry-out bags in establishments will be prohibited throughout the city.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Sandigan Bayan rules no case versus town mayor in halting work of water supplier with no permit in Camarines Sur. DOH cites Bacolod for having most prepared vaccination plan in Western Visayas. And Surigao del Sur town opens tourist destinations. Here are the details.
The Sandigan Bayan has acquitted Mayor Tomas Bongalonta Jr. of Pili, Camarines Sur and 2 other co-accused of their criminal charges which arose from the stoppage of work by the town's water concessionaire in 2011. The criminal complaint filed against them stated that they forcibly prevented the urgent repair and installation of water pipelines by the workers of the Metropolitan Naga Water District or MNWD, the town's water supplier. Bongalonta said that he merely carried out his lawful duty when he ordered the temporary cessation of MNWD's activities because there was no proper coordination with the local government unit and that the MNWD did not secure a building permit from the local building official. In acquitting the mayor and his co-accused, the Sandigan Bayan said their acts were justified because the mayor acted within his legal authority. Bacolod City was recognized by the Department of Health Region 6 for being the local government unit with the most prepared COVID-19 vaccination plan in Western Visayas. In a report over the weekend, Bacolod City received a rating of 75.9%, the highest readiness among LGUs in the region. The city was also among the first LGUs in the country to procure COVID-19 vaccines from a pharmaceutical company and has already paid an initial 31 million pesos for the purchase of AstraZeneca vaccines. The local government unit of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur is set to open its tourist destination starting today, March 1st, after they were temporarily closed for a year due to COVID-19. Mayor Shem G. Garay issued an executive order last Friday in a bid in reviving and revitalizing the tourism industry and economy in Hinatuan, which has been severely affected due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourists from all over the country can now visit popular local destinations such as the Enchanted River and other beach and rock island resorts. The LGU encouraged tourists and visitors to have pre-booking for a maximum of 2 nights in any local accommodation establishments issued with a Certificate of Authority to Operate by the Department of Tourism.
In world news, $1.9 trillion COVID plan clears U.S. House and now heads to Senate. 8 killed in Myanmar crackdown's bloodiest day. And Finnish inventors attempt biggest ice carousel record on frozen lake. Let's watch this.
The United States House passed an enormous $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package early Saturday, hailed by Democrats as a critical step in funneling new funding towards vaccination, overburdened local governments, and millions of families devastated by the pandemic. 4 days after the COVID-19 death toll surpassed 500,000 in the United States, the sprawling measure backed by President Joe Biden and seen as a moral imperative by many now heads to the Senate for the consideration next week. Shortly before lawmakers approved the package on the rare post-midnight vote of 219 to 212, no Republican voted for the bill. The sharply partisan result comes week after Biden's January 20 inauguration, when he called for unity in the face of a once-in-a-century health crisis. Myanmar security forces opened fire on protesters Sunday, killing at least 8 in the bloodiest action so far to smooth their opposition to military coup 4 weeks ago. The junta is battling contain a massive street movement demanding it yield power and release ousted civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who was detained along with top political allies at the start of the month. The United Nations condemned the deadly crackdown and said it had received credible information that as many as 18 people may have been killed. AFP could not independently confirm the UN toll. A group of cold weather enthusiasts cut a circle more than 300 meters wide into a frozen surface of the vast Lapaharvi Lake in western Finland, which they hope will be the world's largest ice carousel. The team of inventors and helpers cut the circle into the ice, which they attached both motors in order to make it spin, in a bid to break the world record for the ice carousels. The team also cuts a smaller carousel within the large one. The new carousel in Lapaharvi was commissioned by the local authorities who wanted to raise awareness of how climate change is shortening the Nordic country's winters.
In entertainment, Korean star Song Joong-Ki's new Korean drama Vincenzo recorded its own highest rating in the 4th episode and maintained its #1 position since its premiere. According to Nielsen Korea, the 4th episode of Vincenzo on TVN garnered a nationwide rating of 10.125% to place first among cable TV shows and among shows on the same time slot on cable and comprehensive programming TV channels in South Korea. In the Philippines, Vincenzo ranked first among Netflix shows from February 22 to 25, number 3 on February 26, number 4 on February 27, and number 2 on February 28, according to Flix Patrol. This is the drama's highest rating to date and the first time that it posted a double-digit result since its premiere on February 20. In sports, rain or shine has started making big moves ahead of the 46th PBA season. The Elasto Painters on Monday, March 1, promoted assistant mentor Chris Gavina to the head coaching post, while Kaloy Garcia was appointed as the team's active consultant. In a statement posted on the team's social media accounts, they expressed their excitement about the appointment of Chris Gavina as Rain or Shine's head coach. They added that he will bring with him several years of experience as a coach in both the PBA and the MPBL. With Gavina now at the helm, the Elasto Painters are eyeing to win their first championship since ruling the 2016 Commissioner's Cup when they took down the Alaska Aces in the finals. And those are the news on web today, March 1, 2021. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. You may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link in this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.